military-run government is put into place in the event of war or serious national emergency.
September 21, 1972, President Ferdinand Adelin Marcos, President of the Republic of the Philippines, signed Proclamation Number 1081, placing the entire country in his name. On that fateful day, the course of the Philippine history will change forever, signaling the start of a new fight for freedom, not against a foreign invader, but a mad dictator blinded by an absolute power.
Marcos explained, citing the provisions from the Philippine Constitution, that martial law is a strategic approach to legally defend the Constitution and protect the welfare of the Filipino people from the dangerous threats posed by Muslim rebel groups and Christian vigilantes that places national security at risk during that time. Marcos explained that martial law was not a military takeover, but was the only option to resolve the country's dilemma on rebellion that stages national chaos, threatening the peace and order of the country. The emergency rule, according to Marcos' plan, was to lead the country into what he calls a new society.
Anyone who lived during that period of martial law will tell you that those times were the darkest times of Philippine history. The common citizens were at the mercy of a man who had every intention on holding on to power as if it was life itself.
The right to assembly was also withheld, prompting many student and labor organizations to disband amidst threat of arrest. The government controlled media and all its related resources. The successive right to freedom of speech was non-existent. The law as it was intended to be simply ceased to be. All that existed was the whim of a dictator who sat with the entire nation in his grasp.
30,000 opposition figures, including Senator Benigno Aquino, journalists, students, and labor activists, were detained at military compounds under the President's command. The Army and the Philippine Constabulary seized weapons and disbanded private armies controlled by prominent politicians and other influential figures. Numerous media outfits were either closed down or operated under tight control. Marcos also allegedly funneled millions of the country's money by placing some of his trusted supporters in strategic economic positions to channel resources to him. Experts call this the crony capitalism.
It was during these hard times that the patriotic spirit of the Filipino rekindled. Many brave souls faced the darkness and denounced the abuses being performed on the Filipino people under the grip of martial law. The Philippine Republic ceased to exist in that one dark moment of history. The shadow of martial law will always be remembered as one of the truly tragic events in this gallant nation.
Former Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., the deterioration of the political and economic conditions in the Philippines triggered the decline of support on Marcos' plans. More and more Filipinos took arms to dislodge the regime. Urban poor communities in the country's capital were organized by the Philippine Ecumenical Council for Community and were soon conducting protest masses and prayer rallies. These efforts, including the exposure of numerous human rights violations, pushed Marcos to hold an election in 1978 and 1981 in an aim to stabilize the country's chaotic condition. Marcos, in both events, won the election. However, his extended term as President of the Republic of the Philippines elicited an extensive opposition against his regime. Social unrest reached its height after former Senator Benigno Aquino was murdered. The incident sent thousands of Filipinos to the streets calling for Marcos' removal from post. Turning again to his electoral strategy, Marcos held a snap election in 1986, but what he hoped will satisfy the masses only increased their determination to end his rule that seated Corazon Aquino, widow of Benigno Aquino, as President of the Philippines, ousting Marcos for Malacan.